Alright, I gotta show you guys this, okay? So obviously this is just trash mob, so nothing crazy, but all I'm gonna do is cast Aether Corruption. That is it. Look at, I'm not even on the same side as them. Not even on the Look at all that stuff that procs. It's so good, you guys. It's so good. You are gonna love this build. So much fun. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Sinful Duck here, and welcome to another Grim Dawn video. Today, I want to show you guys my build, and I'm gonna try and do this quickly. It's difficult to give you guys all the information that you need without taking forever, but I want to show you guys my Panetti's Mage Hunter. This dude is amazing. There is so much damage going on at once. There's tons of AoE, high burst damage. I think you guys are going to really like this one. If you enjoy caster classes in ARPGs, this might be the guy for you. So let's jump in, take a look. Alright, here we are. So we're going to start off by taking a look at the items that he's wearing. So if you guys have any questions or comments, obviously leave them down below and I'll do my best to answer whatever questions you guys have. But let's start off with the set that we're wearing. The 4-piece set that we're wearing for this build is the Invoker's Will set. So what this one's going to do is a few things. Number one, right here on the offhand you see it's adding fire damage to Panetti's. It's also converting all of our cold damage into fire. So we don't have to worry about boosting cold damage at all. So if we get fire or lightning, we're okay there. But the big thing that this set focuses on is obviously Panetti's. So very fitting. So we've got the Invoker's Will, we've got the offhand, the rings. This ring does some lightning. The other ring does fire. They both do elemental as well, but this one focuses on fire. This one focuses on lightning along with its elemental. And then the amulet is the final piece of the set here, which only does elemental damage, but it also adds some cool bonuses to Panetti's. The first one is that you have a 33% chance of reducing the target's defensive ability by 150. That is pretty significant. And then 100% of the Aether damage on Panetti's is converted into lightning. So Panetti's actually does, with all the passive skills on it, Panetti's does a lot of Aether damage, and we're converting all of that into lightning. So that kind of tells you that you might want to focus a little bit on lightning. So that's kind of what we did here. On the amulet here, we get the skill Invoker's Secret. 100% chance when hit that you're going to get little orbs that float around you. And when enemies get too close, it's going to deal a ton of elemental damage, and it has a chance of stunning them. Also, with the set, the full set bonus is 100% chance when you crit that you're going to deal fire and lightning damage to the target. It's actually in a 5-meter area, so a little area around the target. You're going to deal fire and lightning damage, and you're going to drop their elemental resist by 28%. That is crazy good. The next item, we'll just kind of continue our way around here. Our shoulders, mythical Cortosian scrolls. They give us elemental damage, some health. But the best thing that we get from this is +3 proliferation and the granted skill, which is a chance on crit that you're going to shoot out an extra Panetti's missile. Does good damage, elemental. I don't know if that elemental damage gets our conversion from the offhand, so it might still do cold damage. I'm not sure. Either way, it's fine. It does good damage. It splits off, and yeah, it's a great shoulder piece. Next up, we've got our gloves, the Cinder Touch. Now, I decided to go with these for a very specific reason. Number one, they add flat lightning damage, so that's very good, and that's going to come into play later. But if you are able to add weapon damage to a skill, any of those flat damage numbers, like the 14 to 17 lightning that you see on this, that will get added to that skill that has the weapon damage. So that's very good. We get crit damage plus fire and lightning, which is great because that's our main damage types. 128 offensive ability. 128. That is awesome. That is so high. And then the granted skill that we get with it is Cinderwind, which is 10% chance on attack that you're going to spawn these giant fire tornadoes, which is really, really cool. They do really decent damage. They're not bad. They actually will follow targets around, and you can have 3 of them out at a time, and it just looks awesome, and it's a bunch of free AoE damage. So awesome choice here with the Cinder Touch. The boots, I went with the Survivalist Stoneplate Greaves of Insight. Now, if you guys have seen my my Aether Ray Mage Hunter, this is the exact same character. I just changed the skill points and the gear around, but it's the same character. You can see right here, this is all my items for that build. And these boots, if you've made that build, these boots are the exact same boots that I used in that build. So if you've done the Aether Ray build and you want to try this, you can keep the boots. But the reason we use the Stoneplate Greaves is because they have a ton of great defensive stats. Also, I'm not talking about the components and augments right now. As I'm going through these, you guys can pause the video and take a look at those if you want. They're pretty straightforward, and honestly, for most builds, you're going to want to sort of customize those anyway to fit the needs of your resists. So you can pause the video and take a look at what I've got, but I'm not going to spend too much time going over that. For our metal, so there's a couple reasons I chose this metal. Number one, I just really needed the vitality and bleed resistance that it gives, so went with that. But we're increasing armor by 10%. We're getting 50% health regen when we cast Word of Renewal, and +2 to Maven Sphere, which is incredible because Maven Sphere, not only does it give you damage absorption, but adding more points to it will actually bring your damage up. So very, very nice piece there. The belt, we're on mythical scales of Baranath, so this is a very nice piece. It's giving us +2 to Panetti's, +2 to Inquisitor Seal, and +1 to all Inquisitor skills, which is really, really nice. And again, we're increasing armor by another 6%, so that's very strong for us. The relic that we're running is the Bane relic. It's adding flat fire damage, which goes into our Panetti's missile because of weapon damage. We're dealing, you get elemental damage, you get OA, +1 all Inquisitor again, and the skill Elemental Bane, which is really, really strong. I mean, look at it, 100% chance to pass through enemies, so it's hitting however many people are in front of you, that's how many people it's going to hit. It's dealing over 9,000 damage, just base, so when it's actually hitting targets with resist reduction, its damage is really high, and it knocks targets down. That's really good for keeping people away from you. Our pants, we're using Mythical Leg Wraps of Tranquil Mind. This is kind of a flex spot. You can use this. You could also change it. There's some other pants that will do really, really well there. I can't remember the name of them, but the skill on there is an Elemental Blast. But I'm using these for one reason and one reason only. I'm using these because the stats are amazing. You get 111 Spirit, 111 OA, 27% poison resist. I mean, the stats are so high on this piece, and they're all in things that this build needs. So that's why I stuck with these pants. And again, these are the same exact pants that I was using on the Aether Ray build. So if you ran that build, stick with your pants. You got it. Same thing for the chest. This chest piece is also the same one from the Aether Ray build. Fate Weaver's Raiment. We're getting +4 Elemental Balance, which is really, really important because Elemental Balance is our crit damage. And as you may have already been able to tell, this build is going to have a ton of OA and a lot of crit. Moving on to the weapon. Panetti's replicating wand. Go figure, right? On a Panetti's build, we're using a Panetti's weapon. Tons of elemental damage. It gives us +2 proliferation. I can never say that. Good lord. Every time I try and say that, I get twisted up. +2 to proliferation. +3 to Panetti's. 2 to Inquisitor Seal, but then it makes Inquisitor Seal cost 0 energy. It's free to cast. It lasts for an extra 15 seconds, which is amazing. You can have little Inquisitor Seals everywhere. It's great. It adds burn damage to Panetti's and a 30% chance to... Or I'm sorry, not a chance. 30% slow to the target. So every target that gets hit by Panetti's is going to be coming at you slower, so it keeps people back a bit, which is really, really nice. And now, what makes this build really come together is going to be the headpiece. And now this is a crafted piece, so you can make this yourself. But the mythical spell gaze, so we're getting elemental damage, you're getting health and energy, which is great. Good resist, you're getting +3 arcane empowerment, +2 to Panetti's, +1 all Inquisitor skills, so good. But the most important part, 18% weapon damage to Panetti's. So what does that do for you? Number one, it makes it so that anything that we have, like these gloves that does the 14 to 17 lightning damage, or your weapon, the 27 fire, cold, and lightning up there at the top, those will add in. I think we had one other piece. Oh, the relic with 16 fire damage. All of that, you're going to take a portion of all those numbers and put them on Panetti's. And then any lifesteal that you have will work on that portion of the damage. But it gets better. It gets better. 6% of attack damage converted to health on Panetti's missile. So what does that mean? That means that 6%, and we actually have more than that because of our weapon damage, but 6% of all the damage that Panetti's deals. So every time a missile hits a target and splits and hits another target and splits, every time that happens, 6% of that damage is healing you. Might not sound like a lot, but when this thing is hitting for, 80, 90, 100,000, 6% a big number. So this makes it like a mini life drain, and God, it really does its job well. So Mythical Spell Gaze, hands down, if you want a Panetti's build, this is the helmet. And this helmet and this weapon, a lot of people might ask, why not use the gun that gives you weapon damage on Panetti's also? The simple reason is because I get more benefit out of the helmet with that, and you could add more weapon damage with the gun and the helmet together. But this weapon gives you more plus to skills, more elemental damage, and it gives you the bonus to Inquisitor Seal. It's just way too hard to pass this weapon up, and the extra weapon damage you get from that gun is just not going to be worth it. So, my opinion, use this weapon and use this headpiece. Don't try and use the gun. It's not going to be worth it, I don't think. But with all that out of the way, we're done with the gear. Let's jump into the skills real quick. Alright, now I'm not going to talk too much about the skills. The skills at this point in the game should be pretty self-explanatory, so I'll let you guys take a look at them. Alright, so I'm just going to talk to you guys about Maven Sphere. I mentioned this when we talked about our metal, that if you look at Maven Sphere, we got 21% damage absorption. So for 3 points over cap, only getting 1% damage absorption, you might say, well, it's not really worth it. But you have to keep in mind also that we started out at 12 out of 12. You're at total damage modified by -8%. So with those 3 points, we are getting a couple percent of damage back. And that damage is multiplicative. So it's a much bigger deal than it sounds like. Just look at your sheet DPS. You can look at like this number right here. And you can put points into Mavens. I mean, just take Mavens off. It's 6% damage, right? Take it off. And look how much that changes. It changes by like almost 2,000 damage. And that's just 6%. So that 2% can make a big deal. So you definitely want to overcap this as much as possible. But these are my points for the Arcanist side. And here is the Inquisitor side. So again, I know I'm not really diving into detail on this, but leave comments down below if you have any questions. And then I want to get into the devotions real quick. And again, the devotions did not change from the Aether Ray build. There are some changes you could make. I am thinking about maybe doing a new devotion tree for this build. Because I might want to try and run the Arcane Currents, because these things do a massive amount of damage. But for right now, it's exactly the same as the Aether Ray build. You can see we've got the Widow here for bonus lightning damage and Arcane Bomb, which is going to drop lightning resist. We have that on Stormbox. We've got the Solemn Watcher for some defensive bonuses. We have got Bard's Harp. This is for energy and health regen, as well as the skill Inspiration, which is going to give us OA, DA, and a nice heal. And we come down here, we've got the Hawk. Just a really nice 3-pointer to pick up some green affinity. Some nice little stats in there, a little OA crit damage. We've got the Quill. The Quill is giving us some health, some energy, some elemental damage, so very nice. And again, you see right here it adds 145 elemental damage. Normally that would not affect a caster at all, but because we have weapon damage on Panetti's now, we get to use that. So very cool. Harvestman's Scythe. So we're using this for, again, health and energy regen. This build has a ton of health regen. Fully buffed in combat, we have a little over 850 health regen. So that is... I probably don't have to tell you guys, that's a really big amount. That can really turn a fight right there. And then we've got Rowan's Crown. We only have 3 points here. And we've got Elemental Storm, which gives you a flat 32 elemental resist reduction. We've got that on Aether Corruption. Flat resist reduction is by far the strongest type of damage increase you can go with. So we've got 32 there, which is huge. And this thing deals damage on its own. Look at that. So Elemental Storm, super strong. It's on Aether Corruption. It spreads like crazy. You're going to love it. Coming over here, Hand of Ultos. We've got, Ultos, Shepherd of Storms. We don't have it filled. We left 1 point out, and we tied the skill Hand of Ultos to our Panetti's Missile. So what this is going to do is every 1.1 seconds, because we're critting so much, every 1.1 seconds, this is going off. It's a 100% chance on crit. This thing's going to go off. It's going to hit up to 10 targets. I mean, this goes nuts. 10 targets. It deals main hand damage, so you're getting benefit from any lifesteal you have, which we do have, and I'll show that to you here in a minute. We get it from another devotion up here, the Ghoul. So it does main hand, so we are getting healed from it. Deals lightning, electrocute, it stuns the target briefly, and 25% elemental resist reduction. So even more resist reduction. This is crazy. So Hand of Ultos on Panetti's. Then we have 3 points here in the Behemoth. We're getting health regen, flat health, and then the skill Giant's Blood, which is a massive 280 health regen. That's huge. It's a 15% chance when you get hit, but when you get hit and that thing goes off, good luck trying to, like, while this is on, you basically can't die. It's insane. Alright, then we've got the Ghoul. It's not a great constellation, and it's okay. You get Physique, Spirit, some DA. But we get 4% attack damage converted to health, which again works on Hand of Ultos. It works on all the weapon damage on Panetti's. Increased health regen %, which is really nice actually. And then the skill, Ghoulish Hunger. 100% chance that when you drop to 45% health, you're going to get 18% physical resist and a massive amount of lifesteal. So 85% That's huge. That is also something that when you drop low, that's gonna proc, and it's gonna save you. So very, very cool. And then last constellation here, it looks like our last one is Chariot of the Dead. So you get a lot of really cool stuff, but mainly you're picking up physique and OA. You're getting a ton of OA from Chariot of the Dead, and the skill Wayward Soul, really, really strong. It's a great heal. It gives you 12% of your health right off the bat, and then 1,550 health restored every second for 7 seconds. And on top of that, it's giving you bonus to your defensive ability, 130. So with everything proc here, you're getting 130 DA there and 110 DA there. So that's 240 DA with those things up. So that's a big deal, plus all your percentages that you get. But yeah, that is the devotions, and that is it for the build video. So I'm going to go ahead and go out and go hunt for some bad guys here. We'll kill some trash mobs. We'll kill some heroics, a couple bosses maybe, and hopefully find some nemesis. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Give this a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Hopefully this build will be fun for you guys, and yeah, I enjoyed making it. Hopefully you enjoyed watching it. Thank you, and until next time, guys, take it easy.